So I had some thinking. I had a thinking of an idea. So the original way that I was going to do it with this, where it's just the one basically funneling in, I don't think that would work quite as well. So what I'm thinking of doing is we take care of this. By the way, hey there everyone, hope you're doing well today. So if we get rid of this, because this should, I say should still activate. So I'm pretty sure this will work. So we have that going there. Get rid of this. If we do this, so my thinking is we basically have this going up. Now with that, it would be maybe not as precise, but I think it would still work with just all the pistons going like that. So that's my hope. I'm gonna have to finagle with this and see what we can do. The corner won't work for sure. Wait. Okay, so that gets all that. But yeah, it would have to be up here to power that block, so it's not actually triggering that one. Okay. So we might be able to get away with just having one opening, which I think will... Well, it works. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get a rough prototype figured out, and then I'll bring you back and we'll finagle with it a bit more. Alright, I think I'm cooking with something that's roughly close to gas. So my original idea was something like this, where you had the individuals that would push them down, and I figured their pathfinding would make them either wander off or get pushed by the other piston. Which is fine at first, but I realized that I think that would just be missing out on a whole bunch of stuff. So, what I realized that I could do is we have like a round robin of things powering. So, these pistons don't power anything. These pistons, these power these. And then those power the ones that are now in my face. Which, yep, see. So it's going to be essentially a round robin deal, is my hope. In theory, it should work. In practice, we're going to find out. But I am liking it so far. But we need to destroy this. We do not need your services anymore. Thank you very much. There we go. Okay. So yeah, it should be as simple as what I'm about to do. 1, 2, 3. You put a repeater, which then powers this up here, powers the redstone, and then we do the same thing over here. Will this work? I have zero clue. However, I feel like the concept is solid. It's just a matter of if it's going to inhibit the blazes. I don't think it should, but, you know, then again, what do I know? It's kind of my thinking. So yeah, all right, so I'm going to have to build this. How in the blazes am I going to do this? Because you can't put a pressure plate on top of that. The piston will not allow it. But if we do this, then we do... Part of me feels like that's just going to... Part of me feels like it's just going to make it worse for it. Unless... you do that... and then you do... No. Okay. I feel like I'm on to something. As far as what I'm on to, I have zero idea. Because if you put the... Okay, you could put that there. I guess, does that matter as much? Maybe not. So in theory, they would get pushed off by that, fall, and then hopefully their pathfinding would weasel them down there. I think that's what I'm going to go with, and just drink as much copium as I can, because I feel like that's a solid plan. As far as if it actually is, we're going to find out. But hey, that's part of the fun of trial and error, isn't it? Alright, so I'm going to try to figure something out, and then I will bring you back. So it worked for a little bit, however I think I know the issue. We may have to go back to my original design, because right now they're just kind of chilling up there. And as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pistons that are still extended. So I have a feeling I know what's going on. It's just gonna be... Might have to just go back to my original idea for the design, and then hope that that is a bit better for the more single target, I guess. So let's hop on up there and see what's going on. Okay. So occasionally the pistons will just stay on from like a residual redstone signal. So what we might have to do is, like I say, go back to what... So what we might have to do is just go back to what I was originally thinking and doing the divvy up. I don't know if it'll be less efficient, but it'll be... Well, it'll be more efficient than nothing. So we have that going for us. Yeah, so let me tear this down and see what I can do. Because there's something here. I can feel it. Alright, so let's tear this out and start on over. So I have figured some stuff out. Now, let's go up to the top here, because I made a little viewing area. So that way I could actually see what the heck was going on. And I'm starting to see a pattern here. That pattern being that, well, it's going to be interesting. I have an idea, though, that I think will work. I tested out a smaller design, and I think it could possibly do better than this. Because the problem becomes that the pressure plates, I mean, they work in the quick fix of, you know, they get pushed. However, there's the issue of, see, now if it worked like that every time, that'd be beautiful. And this would be amazing. It doesn't always work like that. Like, at all. So basically what'll happen is that when you start getting a few more blazes going, they sometimes get locked essentially in the piston, because it'll extend, but it won't push out the blaze. So they just kind of chill there, and the piston never resets because they don't get pushed off of the pressure plate, so they just hang out. You see, if it was always like that, that would be amazing. Now your pathfinding, in theory, can... There you go. Okay. But the next idea that I have is going to be a bit more ambitious in a way that I'm going to need a lot more pistons. But the repeaters are going to be cheaper, so that's a plus. All of a sudden it wants to work. It's like, yeah, we're just going to be perfect now. But I swear it was having issues. Right there. Okay.
So from what I've seen, it just doesn't push them out enough, or it just, for some reason, perpetually gets stuck. Now, my first thinking was that if there was a way to reset the pistons, basically, and then I realized, I wonder if we could have it all on a timer to literally have it just all the way around and then go down and essentially funnel them down that way. Instead of it being pressure plate activated, it would just be the redstone running on the back of the blocks, and so in theory it would be a bit better because it'd be an instant reset of the pistons, so there shouldn't be stuck on the piston heads. That would be the hope. So I did mock up a little bit of a design back at the base because I wanted to play around with it to figure out clocks, and honestly I had no idea how to make the redstone clock that I was going for. So I did have to look up a quick circuit just to see what I was doing wrong, but we'll head back to the base and I can show you what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So it just gets clogged up eventually to where nothing is moving and getting through, so. Alright, so now we go back to the base, and we can work on that. My pickaxe was right there the whole time. I'm an idiot. I swear I would just... Oh well. Alright, so now we head on back to the base, and I can show you what I'm thinking of, which I'm sure that some already know what I'm thinking. 3 magma creams. Well, I can safely say that fire resistance potion would be quite handy to have. But first, the blazes. So I will meet you back at the base. Alright. So, I needed just a basic redstone clock. My thinking is that if we do this, in theory, this will be working quite a bit better. Alright. So what I need to do is I need to make a mock-up of what the room will look like. Because I need to make sure I have a proof of concept here to where this hopefully will work. I don't know how it'll work with pistons being extended. Either way. Because if the blazes are getting caught on the piston heads, in theory retracting them and pushing them back out should work a bit better. Now I had to look up this circuit. My understanding is that the power... So wait, if I do that... Okay, so now it's just on a perpetual loop, okay. So that just controls if it's on or off. Okay. Anyway, I'll mess around with that more later, but the important thing. I just need to get a rough proof of concept. I don't think I want to have it connect to there. No, that's not what I want. So I need... What if we do this? I'll be honest, I did not think the Blaze Farm would be this involved with trying to figure stuff out. Did not see that coming. But I also feel like anything with redstone you should always assume is going to be a bit more tricky than you think it'll be. Wait a minute, what if we do this? Because I don't want it to go all the way around like that. So if we do, say, this. No, we'd have to go up this way. I just need to see if this idea will actually bear fruit. So if it'll bear fruit, then I can finesse it a bit more. Okay. So what if instead of that, we do it going this way? I have no idea if this will actually make a difference. I feel like it won't. But, you know, that's like part of it, I guess. Okay. Does connecting this change anything? So that creates a perpetual loop because of this repeater, I'm guessing? Okay. All right. So that works. But now, how would we build up from that? That's the real question. So with the whole idea being to funnel down the blaze, we need to have, I mean, a way to do that. Now I feel like this is probably the most effective way at this point. Like I say, I really don't want to look back on a video just to try and copy someone else's design. I'm really trying to avoid that personally. I'm okay with looking up redstone circuits to kind of get the idea and then figure it out from there, but I would like to try to figure out these kind of older farms on my own. Because the newer farms, I have a fairly good idea about how to build them. But these older ones, I have zero clue. So, we can't really put them closer because then the heads will intersect with each other and the mob will probably get, you know, buggered up. So if we do this, we would need pistons right here. So it would be there and there. Would that make sense? At the end of the day, the minimum blocks that have to be to connect the circuit is these. And I'm probably way overcomplicating this, but I mean, trial and error. Okay. So the only thing I'd probably change here, put that there. If you do that and that, in my head that works, but I don't know if that actually changes anything. No, okay. So it's not powering. So the repeater holds the signal. Interesting, okay. But if I do that, it'll just, like, repeat itself. I mean, I'll have to figure out a nicer way to run the redstone, but... Okay. Now, would we put it back here, above this redstone? So it'd be there? Now the goal here would be to have it start at the top and then basically work its way down. I don't 100% know if that would work this well, but we're gonna give it the old college try, I guess. It's gonna be so overcomplicated. It's gonna be really funny when we come back to that farm just for craps and giggles on like a world tour. And just to see how much more difficult it was to make a blaze farm. Because in obviously the newer updates, if people are currently playing, yeah, it's just it's so simple. It's very much none of this. Just put lava in the four corners and just funnel the blaze. Done. It's so simple. But I like where this is going. I don't know if this is actually how some people have built their blaze farms in the past, but I think it's a good way. Let me gather up some scaffolding blocks. I have learned a little bit of a hack. I don't know if it's in newer versions, but in the Nether at the very least, and if you have the right level shovel and item, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Tool, that's the word. Basically, if you stand all the way back, hold your mouse clicker for the destroy, you can nearly get instant mining with no enchantments with an iron shovel. And I can do the same thing in the Nether. With an iron pickaxe, if I do that same thing, I can just run along and knock out the netherrack. I don't know if that's how it is in the newer versions, but it's pretty cool in the older ones. Alright. So... don't need... I probably should just be building this at the blaze farm, but I would really like to just see how this goes. Alright. So in that case... we'd have to do... no, not that. Because... the only downside to this is that I'm really relying on the pathfinding of the blaze. Which, in theory, should work fine with the continual spawning with the spawner. But I'm also just kinda... I hope that's the right way to do it. Well, I just want it to work consistently. I don't care if it's slow, I just want it to work consistently so I can get the blaze rods. Because one thing I've wanted to do for a while was work on a brewing auto brewer. And so that's one of my goals, is to be able to work on an auto brewer and actually have it working and try to understand how all the fanciness works with it. So how do we put it over those? Okay. And so if I can get it to where it's efficient enough to use it for blaze rods and brewing, that'd be even better. I get free fuel that I don't have to chop down 700 trees. Okay. So now the real fun begins with trying to figure out how in the blazes, if I do a torch tower, does that work? Because one burns out the other, if I'm understanding it correctly. Well, let's give it a shot. Okay. Oh wait, no, we need to go into here. Alright. Holy crap, does that actually work? Holy crap, that actually works. Oh my god. Okay. Proof of freaking concept. Alright, so it runs from there. So it needs to run down and connect. So it needs to like connect here. Okay. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Alright, so if we run a wire down here. So if we go out here, continue that and that. Now if we do this, if we continue, I just need one more repeater. I'm gonna need so many repeaters. Alright, let's do a test. Oh, sweet mother molasses, we might be on to something, people. Okay. Of course, there's a high chance that this doesn't actually help. Which would suck, but... Okay, so that's a second row, so we need to go down to U. Beautiful. So we need to take the signal from there, bring it over just down to here. I say that like it's just a simple matter. So that has redstone, so I can't take that block out. But if we go here... Da. No. Well, actually that could work. That could work, yeah. Oh, it's not strong enough there. It seems like there's a possibility they might still get stuck, but it seems like a better option than what I had. Because this way they're at least constantly moving, so in theory it's a better idea. Theory being the key word. I mean, I got nothing to lose, so... I'd say we tear all this down and bring this into the nether with us and see about, well, hopefully this will work, because I would really like it to. Yeah. Okay. And torch tower. So cool. All right. So I guess we'll just tear this down, and then we will construct it again in the nether, and hopefully it'll prevent them from getting stuck on it. Because I think with the movement of the pistons is going to at least allow them to get out of the piston head, since they seem just kind of stuck there once it's extended. At least that's what I've noticed. Because, for example, like... let's see. Well, that's a bad example. Either way, yeah, we'll just build this up in the nether and see what happens. But I'm much more hopeful about this than I was the other one. And in theory, this should give more spawning spaces for the blaze. So in my copium that I'm really trying to just down, it will possibly give more spawns, so we'll see. But I'm going to deconstruct this, and I'll see you back in the nether after we've built this up a little bit and see where we're going. I'm going to take a screenshot of it first, just so I can make sure I understand, just in case. There we go. Okay. Screenshots are saved, and we are off to the races. Well, for the most part, this way definitely seems to be working better. I'm pretty sure they can spawn in the air, so it's not like once you put slabs on the ground, there's no worries about spawning, so I'm pretty sure I'll have to do some sort of just like filling in all the air blocks. But yeah, this way is actually working way better than I thought. Hang on. Oh, it's not even getting that side. Okay. So I need to put a repeater... Oh, back here. Okay. That is doable. Okay. But hey, it's still working, so... It's working quite well. Well, this is a relief. Like I say, I'll have to do some sort of mob proofing, I'm sure. Let's see if... So that is donezo. Now all I have to do is, well, do some farming. Now I actually have a decent XP farm with... I don't exactly know the rates on this thing, but I'm guessing it's better than what I would have gotten before, so... Fantastic! The Blaze farm is finito. But I think that is where we're going to leave it for today. Sorry I didn't get a whole lot of the actual build itself. I figured since we did most of it... Since I showed it at the main base, it wasn't too... There wasn't anything really to add to it. Only difference was that I added an extra layer on top just to get to the glass ceiling that I put up there. So, the only other thing outside of fixing that section over there is I think I'm going to put a crusher or a way to ensure that they can't fly up. So I'd put a lever down here with a sticky piston that extends out to make sure that the blazes don't fly up, but... Awesome! Alright, I am very happy about this. And that's just the trial and error of the game, I guess. So... Oh, jeez. Alrighty, well... Thanks for checking this out. Please do take care of yourself, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.